Good evening and welcome to the Whitemarsh Township Board of Supervisors meeting for December 12th. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, real quick housekeeping. Supervisor Vince Manuel is out of town, and Supervisor Beth Moy is under the weather. So you're stuck with the three of us tonight. I'm Fran McCusker. To my left is J.C. Toll, and to my right is Patrice Tureen. I'd like to begin tonight by remembering Mr. Bob Sague. As many of you might have known, Bob Sague passed away last week. He was the owner of Sague Bus Company, and he was a lifetime resident of Whitemarsh Township, a lifetime member of Barron Hill Fire Department, and overall a very community-centric person. I remember about 20 years ago meeting Bob at St. Philip Neri, where he was the head usher when he went to Mass. And he always knew my name, he always smiled, greeted everybody, and made everybody feel welcome. I remember when Bob asked me to be usher at a Mass, and I felt like I made it, that Bob actually recognized me. But that was Bob's nature. He made everybody feel like they were part of the community. What a great guy. So as we get into the holiday season, let's remember the way Bob lived. He was kind, compassionate, patient, and he had a real zeal for life. So our thoughts and prayers are with the Sague family. Thank you very much, and I'll turn it over to JC for the announcements.
Thank you, Fran. The Township Leaf Collection Program concluded on December 6th. This year, the Public Works employees collected 8,187 cubic yards of leaves. This will be grinded up to provide mulch in the spring. Many thanks to Jack Fields and the Public Works Department for their effort to keep the streets clear of leaves. Please remember to bag your leaves and place them with your yard waste on Mondays from here on out. As a reminder, trash service for Wednesday, December 25th and Wednesday, January 1st will be collected on Mondays, December 23rd and December 30th. Yard waste for both weeks will be collected on Saturdays, December 28th and January 4th. The township offices will be closed on Wednesday, December 25th and Wednesday, January 1st to observe the holidays. As this is our last meeting of 2024, the Board of Supervisors would like to wish everyone a safe, happy, and healthy holiday season. Thank you.
Thanks, JC. Now we're going to invite Chief Becky Werner of the Whitemarsh Ambulance up to the podium.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Rebecca Werner. I'm the Chief of Operations of Whitemarsh Ambulance. This is my Deputy Chief, Kristen Kovacs, and my Assistant Chief, Maria Pierce. And we want to thank the Township for giving us the opportunity tonight to recognize some of our crews and some of the police officers that help us every day with a very tough job. So tonight we have 4 accommodations that are going to be given out for life-saving efforts. Our first one, the accommodation, is for the recognition of life-saving actions performed by paramedic Bill Mike Cagney, EMT Joe Sermania, and EMT Galantu, who is not here tonight. If you guys want to go up there. That's good. I would like Harrison Jenkins to come up at this point. He is our representative from Zoll. Zoll is our cardiac monitor that we use for defibrillation and for all of our calls in the 911 system. And he has the awards. I'll introduce you in a minute. Okay. On May 22nd, at 1837 hours, Whitemarsh Ambulance was dispatched for a cardiac arrest. EMS arrived to find bystanders performing CPR. Bystanders reported that the patient was getting ready to putt on the golf course when he just collapsed. They found the patient was not breathing and pulseless. An AED was obtained and the patient was defibrillated 1 time prior to EMS arrival. EMS began their assessment and they found pulses. Patient began responding and opening his eyes. Shortly after EMS began transporting, the patient once again became unresponsive and once again went into cardiac arrest. CPR was started, the patient was defibrillated by our Zoll monitor, and pulses returned. Throughout the rest of the transport, the patient proceeded to go into life-threatening arrhythmias, all of which were identified and treated quickly and appropriately. When bystanders act quickly and effectively the way they did this day, it saves lives. When emergency services act quickly and efficiently, they save lives. Thomas is alive today because of all the quick-thinking actions of his friends and the quality of the intelligence of our first responders. Thomas is unavailable to be here today, so presenting the accommodation will be Brian Croker, Vice Chair of WCAA Board. And if we can get... Are you guys going to get pictures with them or no?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, of course. We love our picture
I mean, it's
taking.
up to you. Well, they're not on this one. Yep. Thank you. This next commendation is for recognition of life-saving actions performed by Corporal Wilhelm, Officer Todd Burton, Officer Betts, Officer Gailey, Paramedic Deputy Chief Kristen Kovacs, AEMT Eppers, EMT Burkhart, EMT Sermania, and EMT Smith. It was a slow day. On November 11th, 2024, at approximately 0827 hours, Whitemarsh Township police officers and Whitemarsh Community Ambulance Association were dispatched to a residence in Lafayette Hill section of Whitemarsh Township for a report of an unconscious female. The resident reported that while her mother was visiting her, she became unresponsive, stopped breathing, and fell to the floor from a seated position. Upon arrival, Corporal Wilhelm assessed the scene and found the patient was not breathing and without a pulse. Corporal Wilhelm began giving CPR, chest compressions, while Officer Betts arrived on scene and began managing the family and assisting with life-saving measures. Officer Todd Burton arrived on scene, found a carotid pulse, and provided rescue breaths while maintaining the patient's airway. Whitemarsh Ambulance arrived on scene and found the patient had returned to a pulseless state. CPR was restarted. Corporal Wilhelm, Officer Burton, and Officer Betts continued to aid ambulance personnel as they initiated advanced life-saving interventions, such as medications and one defibrillation with our Zoll monitor. After approximately 22 minutes of police and EMS care, the patient regained pulses and was even speaking to EMS en route to Chestnut Hill Hospital. On November 11th, the patient was in stable condition and transferred to Lankenau Hospital for a pacemaker and further treatment. Unfortunately, after the surgery on November 18th, the patient had complications of internal bleeding and passed away. Her daughter could not be here today, but did have a message for the first responders. Quote, "I will always remember what you did for my mom. You did a wonderful job. I cannot thank you enough." Presenting the commendation is John Coogan, Treasurer of the WCAA Board. I know. I'm telling you, it was a really slow day.
8 friends.
So many ambulances that day. You guys gonna get in the picture with them or no? Just the first ones? So many people. I know, right?
Thank you.
You good? Okay.
Nervous.
Got you. The next commendation is for the recognition of life-saving actions performed by Officer Conrad, Officer McMain, Paramedic Bischoff, At the time, EMT Stoller, who is now actually oh, you don't even have it on your shirt yet. No, a PHRN, so congratulations also. And we're going to specially recognize David Bischoff. He's David here? Yes. Yes. David? On January 13th, 2024, at approximately 1640 hours, Whitemarsh Township police officers, Whitemarsh Community Ambulance were dispatched to a residence in Lafayette Hill section of Whitemarsh Township for a report of an unconscious female. Prior to officers' arrival, recognizing the gravity of the situation, son-in-law David Bishop initiated chest compressions. Upon arrival, officers found the patient lying unconscious on the floor of her family room with CPR in progress. Officer McMain took over chest compressions while Officer Conrad operated the bag valve mask. Whitemarsh Ambulance paramedic Ryan Bischoff and then EMT, now PHRN Rosie Stoller, arrived on scene and initiated advanced life-saving measures, as well as 3 defibrillations with our Zoll cardiac monitor, while Officers McMain and Officer Conrad continued the CPR. The combined time of life-saving efforts performed on scene by family members and the emergency responders was approximately 30 minutes. It is due to the early recognition and quick action of the family, as well as the orchestrated continued work of the police and EMS, that Carol began to show signs of resuscitation. Today, Carol is here with us to give this award as a cardiac arrest survivor. Do you guys want to come down and take a picture? They're going to, no, you stay up there. They're going to take a picture with you. You guys stay.
I know. Right in there. Ready? All right.
Thank you. Okay. So this next commendation is recognition of life-saving actions performed by paramedic and Captain Morgan, AEMT, now paramedic Cease, then EMT student, and now EMT Paldino. This is a particularly interesting one, as the patient who is standing next to me now is one of us. He is a retired police officer. On July 7th, 2024, at approximately 15:17 hours, Whitemarsh Ambulance was dispatched to a residence for a cardiac arrest emergency. The patient was CAO ×4, which means conscious, alert, and oriented, when EMS arrived, and was able to recall the events leading up to the incident. The patient stated, "I just have jaw and arm pain that started last night. It hasn't gone away. It's gotten worse." The crew quickly started transporting the patient while doing assessments and interventions per our chest pain protocol. After a few minutes, the patient became pale and stated, "I don't feel good." He then became unresponsive. CPR was initiated, and the patient was noted to be in dangerous rhythm and therefore defibrillated by our Zoll monitor. CPR was continued along with other life-saving support interventions. Several rounds of compressions, the patient became responsive to tactile stimulation. The patient not only had pulses quickly, became responsive very quickly. And it's due to the quick reactions and highly skilled crew that William is a cardiac arrest survivor, and he's here today to present this accommodation. All right. I know. On behalf of Whitemarsh Ambulance, I'm truly proud of all of my crews and what they do every day. We're very appreciative of the support and help of all of our police officers and other first responders and our township for allowing us to have this platform. We're also very thankful for Zoll and other people that give us the ability to do this with our machines. So I'll say that. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Becky, and thank you to all of your staff and people who do such great things for our community. It's really great to have the patients come out and show us what you can really do, and they're here today because of your response. Thanks to the police department, all of you guys being there and working together, your collaboration. You see, when you work together, great things happen, and we're very proud to be up here for you. So have a great holiday season. Thank you so much, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Great job.
See you, Brian. See you tomorrow.
Take care.
I see him every morning when I broke at my gym. Too much coffee.
You have to go?
I wrote it on mine.
All amped up for the budget.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for giving me that much. The minutes?
The minutes are next. I'm just waiting for them to go out the door.
Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll begin as soon as they get that door shut. Thanks, Chief. Santa Chief. Come on up here, Tom. You can sit right up here. All right. Do I have a motion to adopt the meeting minutes from October 7th, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, we'll go to ordinances. Do I have a motion to approve ordinance number 1046, approving the 2025 real estate tax millage rate for Whitemarsh Township to be set at 2.3633 on all real property?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. McAnally.
Yes, we were able to balance the budget with no tax increase. So the millage you see in front of you at 2.3633 is the same millage that we've had for several years now. So no increase to the taxes for Whitemarsh Township.
That's great. Any board comment? Any public comment? Hearing none. Mr. McAnally, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Ms. Tureen,
Yes.
Ms. Toll,
Yes.
Chair McCusker.
Yes. Ordinance carries. Do I have a motion to approve resolution number 2024-25, approving the fund transfers for 2024 in accordance with the 2024 adopted budget as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. McAnally?
Yes, these were 2024 general fund transfers. that were approved, or that were in the 2024 budget. We're just asking to transfer from the general fund to capital $1 million, and from general fund to the capital equipment fund $100,000, for a total of $1.1 million. This was shown in the 2024 budget.
Thank you. Any board comment? Any public comment? Mr. McAnally, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Ms. Tureen?
Yes.
Ms. Toll?
Yes.
Chair McCusker?
Yes. Resolution carries. Do I have a motion to approve Resolution Number 2024-26, approving the adoption of the capital plan and operational budget for 2025 as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. McAnally.
Yes, this is just going through the budget that was just approved with the millage. We have a balanced budget of $22,404,627 for 2025 operating and capital.
Thank you. Any board comment? Any public comment? Hearing none, Mr. McAnally, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Tureen?
Yes.
Ms. Toll?
Yes.
Chair McCusker?
Yes, resolution carries. Do I have a motion to approve Resolution Number 2024-27, approving the trash and recycling service charge for 2025 as $664 per residential dwelling unit per the existing service contract?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. McAnally.
Yes, this is part of the 5-year contract that was signed in 2022 for 2023 through 2027. This is a $664 for the year for trash and recycling services.
Thank you. Any board comment? Any public comment? Tom, come on up.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I just have a question on the size of the increase of it. We're going from 412 to, was it 664? What's that, $252? That's basically an electric bill for somebody in a month. Why is the increase so much? And I guess the other question I have is it gets down into the disbursements. There were 2 disbursements this month to Mascaro. One at the beginning of the month for, both of them were like $194,000, I believe. So it's like $388,000 a month times 12 is like, $4.6 million a year. At what point does it make sense for the township to reinstitute its own trash collection like it did before? Because these are sizable increases for people. And I don't think other townships, but the local townships around here, like Upper Dublin, Abington, they do trash removal on their own. They have their own trucks and their own crews that pick it up. So at what point do you take a look at, the cost of Mascaro and what we're incurring there? Because this is a huge increase, right? And then buy a couple of trucks and hire a crew of 10 people and do it ourselves.
Thanks, Tom. I think when we were looking at that contract, first of all, Mascaro was the cheapest by far. And then the increase over, it was I forget how the increase worked, Craig. Do you remember what the contract looked like?
The contract states that it was going to increase this year, and it will increase again next year and the following year. So it was
We held steady. We
held steady for the first 2 years.
First 2, and then the next 3 it was increased, but it was the cheapest around. So, and then your comment about looking at our own trash removal, I think it's something we could discuss. However, when you're talking about buying trash trucks, employing people, insurance, and everything else, I bet you that it's still cheaper to outsource. But we could look at it. So thanks for your comment, Tom. You want to come up, Kevin, to straighten it all out?
I don't know about that.
Or do you want to confuse things?
Well, I just want to answer on the 192,000 was paid twice. The one is a November payment, one is a December payment. The December payment was paid last check run in November because the next check runs not till tomorrow. So I tried to get Mascara paid at the beginning of the month. So that's why it's double. So if you take that times 12, it's, I forget the total number, but that's why it was 2 payments in November.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I was, hey Kevin, before you go, I guess the way I was looking at it is if you take $664 times the number of households that are in the
Right.
township, there's got to be, 6,500 households at least, I don't know how many there are, and you multiply that out by
So-
everybody,
so-
you're talking about a sizable amount,
Okay.
right? What's happened?
We did an RFP 3 years ago. The RFP went out. One company responded, it was Mascara. We talked about throwing the contract out, and rebidding it again. I think they did that the last time, early in the year we did it. And Mascara was the only one to rebid it on the second time. So how many times are you going to rebid the bid? Mascara was the only one to bid it. They came out with, it was $412 for the first 2 years. It's going to be $664 for 2 years. And then I forget the number in the 5th year. I have it on my desk, but I don't have it on my memory.
It's like an outrageous HOA
But
fee.
if you want to buy, you only have about 5,500 trash people because you have a lot of HOAs to pick up their own trash.
Yeah, I was
So-
just going to mention
So
that.
we don't have
Yeah.
6,500. I got into that discussion when I first started here in '21.
Yeah.
So you have about 5,500, and the price is the price is. So it's the total price we were told. We take that price and we divide it by the 5,500 people. That's where the 664 is. So I pay Mascara the same dollar amount every month for 12 months to come up with, and then I'm not going to take a loss, so I divide that and come up with the 664 per resident.
It's just a lot. You guys know.
Thanks,
But again,
Tom.
you go back buying a truck, a trash truck's going to be about $500,000. You're going to pay employees, you're going to pay benefits, and then your workers' comp's going to go through the roof. I worked at Abington for 30 years. Our biggest workers' comp was our trash department. They're hurt jumping off the back of the trash truck, their backs, knees, elbows, everything, so.
Yeah, I don't doubt it, but why did they still do it then?
All right, well, thanks, Tom. All right, where are we at? Any more public comment? Mr. McAnally, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Ms. Treen.
Yes.
Ms. Toll.
Yes.
Chair McCusker.
Yes. Resolution carries. Do I have a motion to approve Resolution Number 2024-28, approving the streetlight expenses to be set at $38 per household and fire hydrant rate to be set at $21 per household for 2025?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. McAnally.
Yes, these rates are steady with 2024 and probably years before that as well. So no increase. So it stays the same, 38 and 21 per year.
Thank you. Any board comment? Any public comment? Hearing none, Mr. McAnally, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Tureen,
Yes.
Ms. Toll,
Yes.
Chair McCusker.
Yes, resolution carries. Do I have a motion to approve Resolution Number 2024-29, approving the 2025 fee schedule as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. McAnally.
Yes, this is just some adjustments to the fee schedule. We raised some of the fees on there to capture some of the costs for each of the items. For instance, zoning hearing board, the park and rec programs, police costs for some of the incidents. So we added the liquor license transfer and the PSAs that were added throughout the year of 2024, where they're now in the original fees, or not the original, but the new fee schedule. So nothing really more than that, really just capturing the expenses so that the township's not pulling out of the general fund to pay for someone else's fee.
Got it. Thank you. Any board comment? Public comment? Tom?
Thank you, Fran. I just have a question. To me, the fees look like they're quite reasonable. Do we compare our fees compared to other townships
We
to
do.
make sure they're in line?
Before any consideration of any kind of increase or decrease, we look at all the surrounding neighbors.
Have we considered our fees to be, should we consider them, maybe put them up a little bit more and have try to raise a little bit more money from
I
them?
like what
Because-
you're saying, but
Well, no, because they're so reasonable, right? I mean, and this is a very desirable township to live and to work and to build houses and so forth in. That I think you could get more, and I don't think it would hurt the people to pay them.
There's a legal issue with that. Fees have to approximate the cost of implementation of those fees, or else they're an illegal tax and violate of the Pennsylvania Constitution. So every year, our township staff goes through them, compares and contrasts, looks at other townships, and makes sure they're reasonably related to their costs. You just can't make money off fees.
Well, I mean, but if they're reasonable fees, are you sure you're taking into consideration all the overhead the township?
Looking at all the
To
expenses.
try to
and
raise them a little
costs.
bit more? They're very reasonable. When I went down and looked through all the fees, I was surprised at how little some of the fees were. And I think.
We're a reasonable township and a reasonable board.
Well, I
Great place to live, work, and raise a family, as we like to say.
Except for the refuse fee, right?
So, thanks, Tom.
Well, I mean, the additional fees here could offset maybe the refuse fee increase,
Yeah,
right?
thanks, Tom.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Fran.
Mr. McAnally, please call the roll.
Ms. Tureen,
Yes.
Ms. Toll?
Yes.
Chair McCusker?
Yes. Resolution carries. Do I have a motion to approve the funding allocations for the ARPA, American Rescue Plan Act funds provided to Whitemarsh Township for all the projects as presented tonight and amended in the December 4th, 2024 memo from the original July 3rd, 2024 memo from the Township Manager?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. McAnally.
Yes. The ARPA funding was, some of the regulations for the ARPA funding changed July 31st, which changed it from, I don't know why my screen is not showing, changed from the funds being allocated to obligated for December 31st, 2024. What the change is what we believed was allocated was this board could allocate the staff to have projects and approve them, and then we could move forward with a contract. Obligated means that by 12/31, we had to have projects under contract or paid for already. So the change from the July 3rd memo to the December 4th memo, whatever the memo date is, December 4th memo, is basically projects that have been either paid for or can be under contract by the end of this month if this board approves them. So that's the only change. So any projects that were on the July 3rd memo have been moved to a capital fund, and some of the projects that were in the capital fund were moved to the ARPA fund. It was all a matter of timing for contracts. So it's the same funding for the ARPA fund, it's just different projects that were provided to the board back in July. So I'm just asking the board to approve that memo.
Thank you. Any board comment? Any public comment?
What's ARPA?
The American Rescue Plan Act. You want to explain that a little bit for them?
Back in 2020, the federal government gave out money to all the municipalities based on your population, and they gave you a certain amount per capita. So Whitemarsh got $1.9 million that they had to spend, have to spend by December 31st, 2026. On different projects. In the beginning, it was very limited to what you could use this money for. They have expanded that. So we're looking to do a lot of improvements to this building. We did the windows throughout the whole building. We're doing some pointing outside to secure the building, some roofs down at the park. In it, we're going to put the Miles Park playground that we upgraded. We're going to spend the money on that. So a lot of the upgrades that you see throughout the township. So that's
Thanks.
basically federal money that was provided to all the municipalities to kind of bridge the gap that they may have lost during the COVID year.
Any other public comment? Mr. McAnally, will you please call, oh, I'm sorry. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Do I have a motion to authorize the advertisement for a text amendment to Chapter 10 to add specific definitions that will revise the administrative review process in the township's historic?
So moved.
Second.
Coming over to Charlie. Welcome to
Thank
the
you.
meeting.
Thank you. This is a fairly simple ordinance amending Chapter 10, which is our historic district, to allow for certain administrative reviews for non-contributing buildings and structures in the historic district. And the ordinance further defines what non-contributing is and what contributing is in terms of whether they contribute or don't contribute to the historic nature of the district. For example, we have been seeing a lot of roof replacements in a subdivision that is between 20 and 25 years old. Those homes are not, they're in the district, but they're not contributing to the district, and HARB really has not much to say about them other than, okay, the roof is being replaced, and they recommend a certificate of appropriateness. That can be handled under this ordinance administratively. And there are no guidelines in the current ordinance. Interestingly enough, because this is a Plymouth and Whitemarsh Historic Architectural Review Board, Plymouth has adopted the identical ordinance. They adopted it this past Monday night. It will be effective 31 days from then. So if this is authorized this evening and heard on January 9th, both ordinances will actually go in effect within 24 hours of each other.
Great.
And HARB has reviewed this ordinance on 2 occasions, and at their November 13th meeting, recommended that this move forward.
Very good. Any board comment? Any public comment? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to authorize the transfer of ownership and legal responsibility from Whitemarsh Township to Canine Officer James Sweeney for retired police Canine Diesel, effective December 31st, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. McAnally? Or
yes.
Chief, do you want to dive into this?
Sure.
We always want to hear about a canine.
K9 Diesel joined the police force 7 years ago. After 7 years of service, is apt to happen with German Shepherds. The Diesel is starting to show signs of aging and wear in his hips and for his health. And for that reason, our veterinarians at Penn Medicine have suggested that the dog be retired while he still has the ability to enjoy the final years of his life in good health. We are also working with Penn Vet. We will be reporting probably in approximately May. K9 Nika will also need to retire after 8 years of service. We will announce at the beginning of the year there are 2 new ready-to-go puppies ready to join our department in May of this year. But unfortunately, the dogs have reached the end of their service life, or will be, and in order to give them a proper retirement and not have them work till they're no longer able to enjoy, we have the opportunity to retire now Diesel at home with Officer Sweeney and his family, where he has resided his whole career. And we've done this in the past with K9 Brock and K9 Hugo previously. So it's just normally for a police dog, you get a 5 to 8 year window of service. We've been fortunate to get 7 and 8 years with both Diesel and Nika.
All right. Thanks, Chief.
Yep.
So thank you to K9 Diesel and Officer Sweeney for their service to the township. I'm sure Diesel will enjoy his time with the Sweeney family, and we wish him the best. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Do I have a motion to approve the financial reports for November 2024 with expenditures totaling $2,488,149.25, payroll totaling $676,398.65, and pension plan expenditures totaling $3,626.94?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Amended agenda. Do I have a motion to approve a certificate of appropriateness that was recommended by the HARB on December 11th, 2024 for 100 Black Walnut Lane for replacement of shingle roof with like kind?
So moved.
Second.
Charlie?
Thank you. This is an example of an application you won't be seeing in the future. This is a roof for a home on Black Walnut Lane at the corner of Spring Mill Road. The home is 22 years old. It's obviously a non-contributing building, but at this time, HARB reviewed it and recommended a certificate of appropriateness be granted.
Thanks, Charlie. Any board comment? Any public comment? Come on.
My name is Cameron Smith. Just one quick question. I'm actually looking to probably get a new roof on my house soon. What is going to be the change in what's required?
Where is your home?
Right on Ridge Pike.
You're probably not in the historic district, so it would just be a building permit to replace your roof.
Okay, just wanted to understand it. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other board comment? All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. That brings us to the public comment period. Do we have any public comment? Hold on, over here. Come on up. Yeah, come on up. Saving you, Tom.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah. Thought maybe the youngsters would come up and, go ahead.
Thank you. We were here last month regarding Arlingham Road and the surrounding areas, a little bit of safety issues.
Sure.
And Lieutenant Mack has given us a great overview of what's to come with traffic studies, things like that. And I just wanted to understand some of the things he said that were being considered. And I thought it was important to be here in person just to reiterate, how dark the neighborhood is at night, stuff like that. He said that we could get blinkers around some of our stop signs. So I wanted to see if we could get some information regarding which stop signs or, any input that would be requested, as well as the stop sign at Meadow and Sunnybrook, where it's a T intersection. According to the statute, you're supposed to stop even if there isn't a stop sign. Never know it. My kids never know it. Love to know if these guys who have been recently through driver's ed knew that at a T intersection you have to stop. They might not have taught that in the city back in the 80s. But there are other Ts that have the 3 stop signs. So we'd like to request that there's either cooperation with Springfield or tell me to go to Springfield and talk to them just to kind of wrap all this up and get all of the safety measures that are at all possible, kind of all implemented, in the same time frame.
All right, yeah. I'm glad Lieutenant Mack came out to talk with you. I think it's great, to have that communication between yourselves and our police department. I think some of the things you're talking about would be with traffic safety. Would that be correct, Chief? So Chief's going to come up and talk a little bit about that. But I'm glad he met with you. Hopefully that made you feel a little more at ease. I really felt
It was great. He
last
gave us
time.
wonderful information about, the hoops that you guys have to jump through with the Commonwealth and other groups, as well as some timeframes, email afterwards. Traffic studies don't like the cold, so, whether it gets punted to spring or something like that.
Well, it's all weather dependent, and right now it's not cooperating. Last year, we were able to do them just about all year because we could put some of our equipment on the highway and not worry about Mr. Fields plowing it away. But our traffic safety unit has been in the neighborhood, and they're working in the neighborhood to study the various problems and the various locations for the different complaints that we heard, on top of communications with Springfield and their traffic safety unit. And there's some difference in opinions and stuff, but we're working through that. But they have to get numbers that can be used as engineering studies to make sure that the things we put into place are covered under the regulations offered by PennDOT and the warrants for the roadway. And yes, unfortunately, all of this takes time because you have to have certain periods of time where you've monitored speed and traffic and the number of cars and on and on and on. So the traffic unit, with all their other responsibilities, are working through this, and not to put it up, but I know they consult with our township engineer regularly on all the projects we do, and I know there's a laundry list of them, but we are working our way through these. And I can't tell you when because I can't tell you what the weather's going to be.
Right.
So as quickly as we can, but it doesn't always allow us. Once we get into cold weather, some of the equipment doesn't work properly. And then also we don't want to have our equipment on the road if the highway department has to be on the road.
Sure.
I don't need thousands of dollars of equipment going down the roadway. So, but we're working on it, and as I'm sure the lieutenant told you, We have miles and miles of roadway, and we have a lot of projects throughout the township,
Yes.
so.
And the digital signs are certainly slowing people down.
And that's another weather thing, because they don't like the cold either. So we're trying our best with it.
We appreciate that.
Yep.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Good?
Miss, could I have your name and address,
Oh, yeah.
just for the record?
Ally, A-L-I, Ellinger, E-L-L-I-N-G-E-R, 6315 Arlingham.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other board comment? You coming up? Awesome. I'm very curious.
Hello, my name is Kayla Cohen. I am a current intern at the Whitemarsh Park and Recs. I had a question regarding the previous shooting at Miles Park last month. We had discussed that the people involved were not from the township, and I was still curious to this day, will we have more security going around the park since there are young children there regarding the younger kids? Will we have more protection for them at the park? Since that incident is recent, I want to know, have we gone anywhere with that?
That's a great question, and the police chief is here to talk about it. And we want to make sure that everyone's feeling safe about the Miles Park incident. We know it was a big story. So thanks for coming out to ask the question. Chief.
Coach Monero sent them, just in
Yep.
case you were
I
wondering.
was figuring,
Yeah.
all
So,
right.
Semester assignment.
Okay, good.
Good teacher.
He's not. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We love Chris Monero. Big fan.
yeah. In the limits that I can discuss, the investigation of the shooting that occurred in Miles Park, we have to start with the fact that none of the people involved in that event reside in our community.
Glenmore, I think it was.
Well, it's Coatesville and Hatboro, to give you the general area. It happened 10:30 at night in November, when we don't have activities scheduled in the park. Miles Park is, one, being a township property, is regularly patrolled and checked 24 hours a day, and more patrolled during activity time. We believe this is a very isolated incident and is not something that has or will put the community in danger at any point. But as in all our parks, it's part of our patrol responsibilities to check all our parks 24/7, 365, and we make sure, especially when there's more activities, and we work very closely with Park and Rec to have their schedules and when activities are supposed to be happening, and also times when people are supposed to be in the park. So we are very aware of that, and this was definitely not at a time or date when we expect people to be in our parks. So, and if you're not aware, the person responsible for that is in custody in Chester County, facing both charges there and here.
So do you feel safe?
I do, yeah.
You feel safe where you live?
Yeah.
Good. Now, good question. Thanks for coming out. It's always good when Mr. Monero sends his students out to hear us at our meeting in Whitemarsh, because we do it much better than the other side of Plymouth. You can let them know
Oh,
that
I know. Plymouth Council.
that was part of your.
Well aware.
Did you want to compare and contrast? I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Can't do that.
That would be McCusker when he
Mr. Monero will know exactly who is talking.
You got it.
Thank you for coming out, though. Appreciate it. Tom.
Yeah, I just have a question on the tax millage. I don't know if you can answer this question, but when we get our tax bills, it has a tax for the county. Is the county tax the same for every residence in Whitemarsh Township? In other words, is it the same millage? Do we know? Does anybody know that?
Mr. Barron, so I'm just going to come up. We have everybody here.
Say yes.
Jack, hold on. It's not only the same for everybody in Whitemarsh Township, it's the same for everybody in Montgomery County.
No, it's not.
It's-
I help people
Hold
with
on.
taxes on.
Well,
So, Tom,
the
let him
millage is the
answer.
same.
No, the millage is not the same.
All right, we're not going to argue.
No, I don't.
So, Tom,
I
hold
have
on.
the facts.
Okay, so hold on. Kevin, you were asked a question.
Yes, the
Explain
millage
the
is the same
question.
for every Whitemarsh Township for the county.
It might be for the town, I'm not.
He's talking
For
about,
the township, it's the same for every township
I
resident.
think you should look at it. It's not the same for the county. Counties, townships that are adjacent to ours, in some cases, have a lower
so
millage.
you're asking
If
about
you
the
go on
county.
Montgomery County website and look up the millage, it has county. It's the same millage all the way down every township. Then there's the MCC Community College. It's the same for every township. The townships are all different and the school districts are all different. But the county and MCC are the same for every bill, if you look at the county website. If it's changed, that's the county doing something, but as far as I know, they're all the same.
I can show you other people's tax bills where it's different. The Montgomery County Community College assessment is the same. That is consistent.
Okay.
But not the millage. The millage is different.
All right, thanks, Tom. Any other board
Bring that to
comment,
your
public
attention so you
comment?
can follow up with the county.
Thanks.
Cameron Smith, I'm at 546 Ridge Pike, and I have three items. First, at 546, that's right along the area where they've been doing all of the beginning of the renovations going up the hill. And they finished repaving the area in front of our house, and then shortly thereafter, apparently a sinkhole has developed over there. Are you guys aware of that? There's a sinkhole on the opposite side of the road as it leaves away from Philadelphia in a brand-new area of the macadam.
On Ridge Pike?
Yeah, there's a cone there. There was an accident there last week with a bus and a car. But I don't know if it's related to the sinkhole, but the sinkhole, there's literally a cone sitting where the sinkhole is, which was at one of the drains. And somebody says about 10 feet deep. So it's pretty significant. I'm surprised you guys were not aware of that. The second thing, the township provides fire and EMS with an annual allocation of funds. Is that correct?
Correct.
Was there a reason why the delay in getting the 2024 allocation out to the fire and EMS for this year didn't take place until December?
We were waiting for their audit.
My understanding was, at least for Barron Hill Fire Company, the audit was provided to you in like April or May.
Not fully completed.
We just discussed this at the EMS meeting. Did you want to go over why that occurred?
Yeah, if someone in Barron Hills telling you the audit was in May by April, I'm sorry, they're lying to you. I just got Barron Hills audit at the end of November, and I cut a check immediately to them. They're not
Who
going
did
to
you-
get their money until the audits are in my hands.
Okay, who did you receive that from?
From the auditor. The same auditor does my audit, does all the firehouses, does the
Okay.
ambulance, does the library. So until I get that audit from him, there's no money distributed to the firehouses. or
So the auditor received the documentation from the fire company in April.
So,
Apparently
Ken,
didn't get it
I'm
done
going
until
to
November.
stop this for a second.
I just wanna make sure.
I'm going to keep this at board comment right now. If you want to talk to Kevin afterwards, he can explain
Okay.
this to you.
Yeah,
What's your?
I was going to say,
what-
I'd rather be off the record.
Yeah, what's your third comment?
Third one is related to illegal signs on telephone poles along Ridge Pike. I had sent back in April an email to Mr. Gutenplan regarding these and to ask if those could be removed. My understanding is that the way it's done is they get notified and then they're to take them down so that they are aware that if they put them up again, that they can be fined for it. And he notified me, like I followed up a month later, and he basically just says, we'll get to it as the time permits. It's been 8 months now, and I'm just wondering, when can we expect to have those completed or removed?
Craig, can we get
We can
signs
look into
removed?
that. We'll look into that for you.
Okay,
Okay? Thank you.
all right, thank you. Any other board comment? All right, I'd like to announce that we had executive session for personal matters. And before we adjourn, I'd like to wish every Whitemarsh Township resident a very happy holiday season. Be safe. Thank you for a great year in Whitemarsh. Thank you to our township staff who keeps us rolling every day. And thank you to our emergency services who keep Whitemarsh safe. Good night, everybody. I'll have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Good night.